line is Dr. Monica Dabney. I've known her for many, many years now, okay? And my doctor in chiropractic, but moved to Naples, so I still love you, and hopefully you come back. Rosalind, you tell us a little.
I won't allow her to come back.
Oh, it's like that. It's like that. So, doctor, tell us.
Hey, I drive. I can go back and forth.
Tell us what you do, doctor, please.
I am here in Naples. I practice acupuncture. I'm also a certified life coach, like you know. So, you know, what we do is we empower people to be the best version of themselves. And I have the blessing of having learned Oriental medicine, so I can actually poke people to feel better.
Okay, I'm not sure I like that, but I actually felt better, even though it was quite an experience the first time that you poked me. Rosalind, tell us a little bit. Rosalind,
same here. I felt better after the first time she poked me too, which sounds bad, but it was good. It was a good bad.
Rosalind, tell us what you do.
I am an alternative medicine consultant. So along the same lines of what Dr. Monica does, is I help people in combating chronic illness through the area of nutrigenomics and overall coaching in the foods they eat, the energy they take in, and kind of go from there. Like I was telling you earlier, I help people improve their home, their hope, their health, and their happiness.
Okay, and we were discussing heroes a few moments ago. Doctor, what was the question that you asked?
Stop right there. Let's discuss you, because you are one of my. Who are you, and why are you my hero? Because you know you've been places that other people couldn't even fathom, and you've come back from really dark places, and there you are, and I love you to death.
I am ex-military. I'm a veteran. I had a number of experiences. One of them, when I got injured and I came back home, I found my loving wife was with my best friend, and that started a roller coaster of depression. I fell into a very deep depression with the painkillers that they were giving me, mixing that with vodka. I ended up being one of those homeless vets that you see in the street, looking for a way to kill myself. And that's where I realized that this is my personal opinion. I respect everybody's thoughts, and I respect everybody's energy and what is within them and their individual journeys, because we're all on a journey. But myself, that's when I realized that people that are very religious are usually people, in my mind, that are afraid of a hell after death, or hell in their mind. And people that have found spirituality are people that have been to hell, got the t-shirt, got the deal, and realized that within you is already everything that you need to overcome it, to grow beyond it, and to become a better you every single day. And the energy, the love, and the appreciation and gratitude that the universe has placed in me, and some people call it a God, is capable of doing things far beyond I've ever imagined, and I'm living proof of it.
I said you certainly are living proof of it.
Well, now you know a little bit about me, Rosalind. You asked a question, doctor, on Facebook. You asked a question a couple of days ago that prompted us to start speaking after about a 90-day sabbatical. I think we haven't spoken. What was that question? Do you remember?
I don't remember exactly the question. I ask a lot of questions on Facebook, and I love to start up things because, you know, that the best thing we do in our field is ask questions to induce questioning inside people. I can't tell you what to do as a coach, but I can ask you questions so that you within yourself what it is that you need. And everybody's very unique. Everybody needs a very individual approach to healing. And what I think our medicine system is a little screwed up. And we tend to suppress symptoms. We tend to suppress thoughts, feelings. Here, take a pill, don't feel your pain. Take a pill, don't feel your anguish. And take a pill and don't feel your grief. When we, in order to overcome all of that, we absolutely need to feel the pain. If you don't feel the pain, you're not going to heal. Now, you could always find assistance, help, support, encouragement, whatever it is that we can provide from this side of medicine to overcome the pain. But it's a process. There's no quick fix pill. There's no quick fix anything. And ultimately, the patient needs to know that they got to want to do the work.
Can I share a story that recently happened to me that I think is pertinent to what we're talking about right now?
Of course.
Mm-hmm.
Every Saturday morning, I go sailing on a program called Shake a Leg. Shake a Leg is a...
I know that program. Excellent. Yes.
Okay. I participate taking out disabled veterans and children that are having mental and physical challenges. I take them out sailing, and it's just to give them a different perspective on what life is about. Okay. And I go there every Saturday. Now, recently, and I'm not going to give the name, a person that was on the boat shared with me that she was depressed and that she had been contemplating suicide. So, of course, I start talking to her, and we're in an environment where I can freely talk to her. We're in a boat. We're sailing. We're going to be there for several hours. So I started talking to her, and the gist of the conversation went something like this. I asked her if her thoughts, if she felt that her thoughts affected her body. And she said, absolutely. Everything that I think about, I feel in my body. Sometimes I feel tired. I feel this. If I think I'm tired, then I feel tired. So she agreed with me that her thoughts affected her body. So then I concluded that if the human body or the human mind, we already know, has between 70 to 90,000 thoughts in the course of the day, I asked her if she thought that her thoughts were the same thoughts every single day, or that she had brand new thoughts every day. And she said to me, I think the same thing every single day. I'm trying to kill myself. I'm trying to think of ways, okay? And I said, so it's possible that if you're thinking the same thing and your body is forming a habit, it's possible that your body becomes the memory of the feelings that you're having in your mind, and therefore forms habits. And these habits, by repetition, form your personality. And your personality, by definition, repetition, forms your character. And your character influences your thoughts. Therefore, you find yourself in a vicious cycle.
Yeah.
And she said, she agreed to that. And she said, I see that so clearly. She goes, but how do I break the cycle? And I said, the first thing you need to do is acknowledge that you're in a cycle and ask yourself, like you just did, because that sets your mind to work. That sets your mind to think outside of the circle that you're in. What are you currently doing now? And she said, and this I was not ready for. She says, I'm seeing a psychiatrist and he's giving me medication, but it dulls all my senses and I can't really think, and I get depressed and I just go back and I get more drugs. And right now I'm supposed to be there, but I don't even want to go see him anymore. And I said, I am not a doctor, okay? I am not a doctor, but I will tell you that I've been where you are, and I refuse to continue taking the oxycodone that I was subscribed to, that I became addicted to. Okay, I refuse to take that. It dulled my senses, and I realized, and I was sharing this with Rosalind earlier, that if I projected myself 5 years in the future and imagine how I really wanted to be, if I imagine a better version of myself, and through meditation and just silence and sitting in silence, if I started talking to myself as to how I got there, what things did I change? What things did that guy in the future, what did he eat? What friends did he associate with? What relationships that are toxic did he cut away? What did you do to look as good as you do? And it took a little bit of work. I had to learn how to meditate to be able to do that. And eventually, he started talking to me. And as he starts talking to me, I start implementing some of these new thoughts, and these new thoughts start changing some of the habits, and the habits start modifying my personality, and my character started slowly evolving until I have become a different person than I was 5 years ago. But I'm always projecting my 5 years, my hero, I'm always projecting him 5 years out. So I'm a work in progress. I'm still moving towards that particular goal.
Right. We're all a progress. We're all a work in progress, Jerry. And scientifically, that's very easily explained. See, the brain is just a reactionary organ, doesn't think on his own. What makes the brain react is the mind, what we think. So if we think differently, the brain provides us with a different kind of chemistry. If we continue to think the same way, we're still going to have the same chemistry. So if you're in pain and you're constantly concentrating on the pain, your brain is not going to give you enough endorphins to calm the pain down. If you are depressed, you know, you're not going to have maybe enough serotonin. So if you think differently, your brain, which is a reactionary organ, is going to give you a different kind of chemistry. So your body would definitely feel very, very different, and your mind will feel very different too.
I think it's an interesting thing to look at and to think about, because it goes beyond that, you know, cliche thought where they say, oh, I'm going to speak this into existence, you know, speak it into existence. But you kind of, you really visualize yourself, which is something that I think we don't take the time to do, where we're like, oh, okay, yeah, I want this to happen and I see this, but do you really see it? Have you really sat in that experience? Have you really felt it? Do you know what it smells like to be there? Do you know what it feels like to be there? What are you wearing? What does it look like? What's your hair look like that day? And I think that while you were talking about that, I was looking out into the distance this way, and I could visualize me in 5 years, and I'm visualizing it a little differently. I'm not looking at it the same way that I had been looking at it, like, oh, okay, this is what I picture my life with my kids and my husband, just kind of hanging out right now, grabbing something from the car. I tried to escape. But now that you put that into perspective, it makes me look at it and think about it a little differently as well.
It actually is a little bit more complicated. And Monica, correct me if what I'm about to say is incorrect, but I was telling my son is 18 years old. He has a 4.2 GPA in his third year at FIU. He's far ahead of the curve of where the other kids would be at this point in time. And he was
come good kids, right? Sorry? From good parents come good kids.
Yeah, well, I had to take him away from the other half of that equation. But anyway, I was trying to share with him the idea and the stress that he was putting on himself by pressuring himself to be and maintain that GPA. And rather than just challenge him and tell him, hey, don't stress, no, I used a different approach. And what I told him was, I told him the story of a zebra in the middle of the Serengeti desert. And I had him picture the zebra sipping a little bit of water and having his little, patch of grass and thinking about zebra algebra in his head about where the next little thing is going to be and what the shortest distance is going to be. Very much enjoying his environment, relaxed, creative, and just allowing the everything, the energy around him to absorb him. And all of a sudden, the lion comes out and starts chasing him. And as soon as he realizes the lion's about to approach, his emergency switches go on. The adrenaline pops up. And he literally, his heart rate starts going up. He starts sweating, and he can only think one thing, and that is run. But here's what's important about that statement. When his mind says run, every aspect of creativity, every aspect of relaxation, every aspect of just learning and looking and seeking for answers to where the next little water hole is going to be are out of his mind. He only thinks of one thing, and that is run. And everything, all the chemical components in his body are secreting what needs to be secreted so that he can run to the top and get to where he's going. And here's the really interesting part. 15 minutes after the lion is exhausted and can't pursue anymore, all the blood pressure, the thoughts, everything goes back to normal. He goes back to normal, and he goes back to enjoying, back to creativity, back about thinking about zebra algebra. Why is that important? Because the human mind has what we call the frontal lobe. And the frontal lobe allows us to imagine, as she was pointing out a few moments ago, whatever you want to imagine. And she's imagining herself a different way in the future now. But because the frontal lobe in our mind doesn't know the difference between what we call reality and what is just the imagination, a lot of times, because we have that ability, we can start worrying about things that don't even exist. We can start worrying about, maybe I'm going to run into the wrong person and marry the wrong person again and lose everything again, or maybe I'm going to get into an accident, so maybe I shouldn't learn how to do this, or maybe, and I start maybeing myself into fear that doesn't exist and literally keep myself from doing anything. But what's interesting about that is, while sitting here and imagining all these things that could happen, I'm causing stress levels in my body to go up to the absolute maximum. And no lion's chasing me. Nobody's knocking my door down. And yet medical science has already proven that every single ailment that we have is associated directly with stress. And we're able to auto-apply stress to yourself without even lifting a finger. So
but that's what happens with PTSD and anxiety and panic disorder. The brain doesn't know past from future, from present. It just reacts to what the mind is telling it. So if the mind is constantly telling me, I have a lion chasing me, you are in perennial, constant chronic stress. Now, we know what chronic stress causes in the body. It causes your cancers, it causes your digestive disorders, it causes your migraines, it causes your fibromyalgias and all that kind of stuff. Imagine what we can do if we can teach people to get out of that mode of chronic stress. We do need a little dose here and there. We do need to feel fear. If we don't feel fear, we can protect ourselves from danger. But we don't need to live in it on a constant basis. And that's where meditation, breath work, energetic, all the types of energetics, and sometimes even some supplements can help. And we don't have medicine, the pill route, you know.
I think we can all agree that a lion's not going to jump out of a Publix aisle somewhere and attack us. So we're pretty much safe in that area. But today's fear is more of an adaptive thing, in which heavy traffic can cause the sensations of stress, and that's not necessarily related to fear. The fact that we work as many hours as we do, trying to keep agendas, trying to keep calendars, trying to keep customers happy. This morning, I had a potential customer that I can explain something to via this media in 5 minutes, needed to see me because this is her need. She needs to see me. So I actually drive all the way up to Commercial Boulevard to see this potential customer, and she wouldn't open the door for me. She wouldn't open the door because I'm a man, and she expected a woman. And I'm like, we've been talking, why didn't you? And on the way back, I was very polite to her, and I said, I understand. But the truth is, I didn't understand that. I got into the car, and my blood was boiling. I literally pulled into an Arby's so that I could sit there and do breath work and say, no, I'm not going to allow anybody to take away my peace. Okay.
Exactly.
But I could see where very easily that could have turned into some, I mean, if it was me 5 years ago, if this was me 6 years ago, I would be afraid of the reaction that that guy would have had 5 years ago.
Yeah.
Because that guy,
your blood pressure, your gastric acid, your gallbladder. A lot of people end up in the hospital with cholecystitis, which is when the gallbladder gets inflamed because we get totally pissed off, and there's nothing else There's just absolutely nothing else except a bout of anger and frustration and what have you. I'm going to have to go back inside because I'm in between patients, but most definitely have to do this, and we have to do this maybe on a weekly basis so that we can have this nice chat and help people overcome their anxieties, their fears, their frustrations, and really lead a better life. What do you think?
I think it's fine. I'm gonna clip this a little bit, and if you're willing, I'll put it right on our Facebook, and we can start asking people for their questions and their thoughts, and we can
we can go from there. I'm okay with it.
We can go from there. So I'm gonna cut a couple of things, clip a couple of things, and then put it on social media. And I'm gonna ask people if they have questions or they have comments and they wanna, you know, I'm pretty thick-skinned. Tell me whatever you want to tell me. Hi, there's a little baby.
My oldest. I mean, like, I've been all over trying to stay away. They found me.
Hey,
so,
take
yeah,
me.
I'm all for it. I think that there's we all have something different to bring to different audience, and we all have different audiences as well, that it'd be important for us to have these conversations and work through, like we were saying before, work through this journey together.
Okay. So we're going to end it here. Let Monica get back to her doctor, and then we can schedule another one in the future, and I'll post this one and see how it goes.
Excellent.
All right, sounds good.
Guys, love talking to you guys.
Take care, guys. God bless.
Bye.